All right. Hey, everyone. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. The Fed just made their announcement and they are going to be holding interest rates steady. Shocker, shocker, but we'll have a good opportunity to see how the market's reacting. And I thought for today, we might as well do a little bit of a longer stream here as long as my internet can freaking hold up here. But we're going to be doing our basic 4-hour strategy with 15-minute entries and exits. I think that'll be a good opportunity so we can talk, chill, look at some of the news going on and all that good stuff while also doing some trades. We'll deal with that stuff after we kind of go through what's happening with the Fed right now, but there's not going to be really too much news here. It's more of how the market is reacting today, I would say, right? So thank you everybody for watching. Let me push this over here very fast. And what I want to do is start off with giving Loki a treat. Kilo just donated some money. I got to go buy some treats actually on the way later today. But Loki gets a piece of chicken jerky to start off the day. In fact, he gets 2 because of Kilo. And then I'm going to go try to find some lamb treats, which will be pretty good for him. But here's Loki, if he can come up. Hey, Jesus, bro. Yeah, come here. Yeah. Don't fight me. Come here. All right, well. Ow, your dew claw is sharp. Yeah. All right, so welcome back, everybody. Hope you guys are all having a good day. Let's hop over here very fast and just kind of check out what's happening with CNBC. You can see right up there in the big red, Fed holds key interest rate steady as economic view improves. Economic view improving, that is pretty interesting. That is some pretty good news here. We can click on this and read it here very fast just so we have an idea of what's happening. But goes on to say this, the gist of it. The Federal Reserve on Wednesday voted to take a break from the recent run of interest rate cuts as the central bank navigates questions about its independence and awaits a new leader. Meeting market expectations, the Central Bank Federal Open Market Committee voted to keep its key interest rate in the range of 3.5% to 3.75%. The decision put a halt to 3 consecutive quarter percentage point reductions billed as maintenance moves to guard against potential downturns in the labor market here. The economy's been kind of rough. I think we already know that, right? Now, in voting to hold the line, the committee also upped its assessment of economic growth. It's also eased its concerns about the labor market as compared to inflation. Available indicators suggest that economic activity has been expanding at a solid pace, job gains have remained low, and the unemployment rate has showed some signs of stabilization. The post-meeting statement said inflation remains somewhat elevated. Importantly, the statement also erased a clause indicating that the committee saw a higher risk to the weakening labor market than heightened inflation. That would argue for a more patient approach to policy as officials see the Fed's dual goals of low inflation and full employment more in balance. So right now we kind of had full employment and we're not there with inflation, so they're going to try to focus on inflation now, even though, as you guys know, the labor market's all whacked out right now. It's a new age. Nobody knows going to how to deal with it. Jerome Powell's just kind of weird. Let's just stick with weird. I don't want to be mean. So there was little in the way of guidance about what is coming next, with the markets expecting the Fed to wait until at least June before adjusting its benchmark rate again. All right. So interesting things happening right here. Not really a surprise, right? But Bitcoin on the 5-minute chart, nothing really happened here. You go over to the Dow Jones, not too much happening. The NASDAQ, not really much happening. The SPY, not too much happening here. And nothing is really happening, to be honest, because we all knew this was coming, right? And hey, Will, happy to see my man. Everybody knew this was coming. There's nothing new here. Fine. We're happy. But we go over and look to see what's happening to the rest of the market over the last 24 hours. You know, I don't even know if there's an option to do 1 hour here. There is. There you go. The last 1 hour, you see how nothing has really happened, right? And again, normally we're used to these massive shocks, but we kind of already knew this was coming. Everybody and their mom knew this was coming here. So now it's just going to be patient and kind of see which way the road takes us. And for that, we go back to momentum, right? This is my layout for day trading with you guys here that I have. So let me go out of this one actually very fast and open up a new layout. Just the one we always use, right? And if you go over here, you already see, and I'll just go through the laydown just so we know. The monthly charts are bearish right now. Not the end of the world, but they're bearish. The weekly charts are still bearish. You got the MACD bearish. You got the stochastic bullish, and you got the RSI back to being bullish. You got 2 out of 3 here, but again, with that bearish MACD, it makes it a little bit more difficult. And we've officially had the death cross. That death cross is the worst thing, I would say, overall, because typically when we do have those death crosses, there's been some really bad times that have followed that. And sure, it might take a few weeks, right? This death cross happened all the way over here. We ride up for a few weeks, but I mean, eventually we came down. This one, a little bit more interesting because of COVID. I'm not entirely sure how that would have worked out, but boom. One right here, death cross on the weekly. They're just not really good moves, right? So we have had that. So history would tell us that we are going to be making another leg down here. Hopefully things will change, because if we do make another leg down, our next level of support is basically around $75,000, $74,500. When you pull up some of the old Fibonacci levels here, though, I mean, I'm just talking about your basic Fibonacci levels. All right, go over to the daily chart. You'll see we bounced off 1, bounced off 2. There's one right over here around $74,500, and you got one way down here around $70,645. I wouldn't be surprised if we bounce down here a little bit. If you were to add on that 200 moving average, the weekly moving average here, we should break down below that around that time. So if you guys are looking to buy and hold for another long period of time, you can really start buying if we go back below this range. Basically, if we drop down again, that'll be where you guys start to accumulate. If we do have a really bad time and it comes all the way back down to like $60,000 or something like that, of course, if since we're already going to be broken down below the 150 weekly moving average, you can be buying down here as well. Hopefully, we're not going to be, down here as bad, but we'll have to wait and see, because that death cross is never a good sign for us. And I just mean it's never a good sign for us. But you know what? This is a new age. We're in a new market. Maybe things can change a little bit more. Maybe it'll be something more like the stock market. We have the Dow Jones, where you have a death cross right here, and we still managed to rally afterwards. Had a death cross over here. That wasn't a good time, of course. Had a death cross over here. That was COVID. It was a little bit lagging, but still, but a death cross over here and whatnot. So a little bit of a different type of move, right? So let's go over here very fast. I should say the stream is sponsored by OKX today. I'll be doing some live trading. So if you guys are looking for new spot trading exchange, they're going to be a good option. Normally with spot trading, a little bit different than leverage, of course, a little bit less risky. You need a little more capital, but you can trade over there and it's a lot less fees because there is no leverage. Now, let me go back over here very fast. Get rid of all these. NASDAQ, similar type of thing. Well, actually, NASDAQ, yeah, you see NASDAQ had a death cross right here. Happened after a nasty move down, but we still managed to go higher. I know my head is blocking it here. But the stock market isn't as... you can see right here now the death cross isn't as bad with death crosses as Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin is going to start acting a little bit more like the stock market, I think that'd be pretty good. And can't see the price on your chart. Can't see the price on your chart. Can't see the price on your chart. Let me see. Do you mean, let me see, I'm zoomed in at 100%. Let me go to 110. Do you want the price up a little bit more, like a 32? Maybe that'd be better. There you go. I can see. Okay. Yeah, that might be my bad. Oh, you're probably talking about the last one right here. Yeah. Sorry. That was meant to just be for CNBC. Yeah, that was just meant to be for CNBC. I always forget. That little page is just for CNBC, but I always forget about it. But right now, guys, but thanks for letting me know, because I would have just I was confused for a second, but I realized exactly what you're saying. So far, this Fibonacci retracement is working pretty darn good. I was a little bit more concerned because you go back over here, back to what we had over here. We bounced off of that, kind of bounced off of that, so it worked. This one over here, when we had these highs, bounced off of it, worked out pretty well. So I'm hoping it works again, because it already worked there, it already worked here. If we do come into contact with $71,000 over the next few months, because we are in this new, how should I say this? I'm not entirely sure if pausing rates is going to be a crazy thing, but let's just say, oh, no worries. I see what you're saying, Wilder. How should I say this? 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 The last time the Fed decided to pause rates was way back over here. And we had an immediately bad downward move. It was really bad. But we came back up, right? And then Trump came into office, and that's where he started talking about tariffs. And then we just never really recovered from that until we had this full capitulation over here in April, where the floor fell out from underneath us. And then we rallied back up. Sorry, I think I have dog hair from Loki running up on me. Oh gosh, there we go. Maybe we'll get choppy and we'll still manage to hold. I'm not entirely sure. Every time we have hope, we've had hope over the last few days when it comes to Bitcoin. We've had tariff threats. There was tariffs against the Europeans for Greenland, and then now we're doing tariffs against Canada because they're about to do a big deal with China. So it's just like, we need some stability from tariffs. I understand why he's doing it. I get it. But it's been kind of a hassle for us in the markets because you're seeing technical breakouts, although be it with bearish momentum, so you're not really buying into this stuff in the beginning, right? Like during this time, you saw there was some bullish momentum on the daily. The weekly, let me go back over here, right? The weekly was actually about to get bullish. It hadn't get there fully, but the monthly was kind of bad. So again, it wasn't looking that great. You don't have the reason to be doing everything really crazy here. But that's where today's strategy comes into play, right? So before we get there, just show you guys a little bit of a heat map of the last 24 hours from now. Everything is generally doing okay right now, despite having no rate increase, right? Here's what changed the new Fed statement, right? Job gains have slowed, so they changed slowed this year to remain low. They said economic activity has been expanding at a solid pace instead of modest pace. Unemployment has edged up through September, and this has shown some signs of stabilization. So they think the labor market is good enough now for them to stop and them to focus back on inflation. That's basically what they're saying in this document right here. That's basically what they're saying, right? However, the stock market, not as forgiving as the cryptocurrency market right now. Not as forgiving. Not as forgiving at all. But I believe the S&P, they said, yeah, S&P hit like $700 they said today, or it touched it. So S&P was at all-time highs today despite the Fed announcement. Now it's down a little bit right now, sure, but I mean, think about it. It's just kind of flat. It's just flat. Nothing crazy. Now, here's the strategy for you guys. If you guys want to follow along, you guys know it probably by now if you guys have been with me, but this is going to be a little bit different because we're not going to be looking for the long-term trends to match up. So normally my strategy entails looking at the monthly charts, the weekly charts, the daily charts, 4 hour, 1 hour, 15, and all that good stuff here. But for now, we're just going to be paying attention to the 4 hour and the 1 hour and kind of seeing what's happening. So we're going to be going through some, let's say, cryptocurrencies and probably some stocks here. But today's stream is sponsored by OKX, so I just want to make sure I make sure to do some crypto stuff as well because Bitcoin's kind of choppy. Everything's kind of choppy right now. But generally, you guys know the indicators that I like to add on. I like to have simple moving averages, 3 of them. These are just for my own comfort to see what the trends are. 20, green. $50. Got a big thermos of tea over here too, but I'm afraid it's too hot. And I got 200 over here. Too hot to drink. All right. Next up, I'm going to add on the stochastic, and we're just going to do the stochastic and the RSI today. We're not going to do the MACD. I feel like the MACD just lags a little bit too much, and I don't want to have different settings for that. No, I don't need to change the script for this. And I got Yacht Rock in the background for my music, so it's nice. We're going to make the middle band just a little bit easier to see. There we go. And we're going to go to 20.55. Smooth that out just a tad. And we're going to go over here to, nope, we don't need to changing this. We can calculate divergence just to make it a little bit easier. And for now, let's make that a little bit thicker for the RSI based MA. And the middle band, white, not red, or white. There you go. Maybe I should make it green or something. I feel like white's just better. Okay, there we go. That's the basis of it. You guys know the rules. On the 4 hour chart, if we're seeing a bullish crossover right there, that's giving us opportunities to do bullish trades on the 15-minute chart. The issue with it right now is we're about to have a bearish crossover above, which means probably later on tonight we're probably going to have something of a pullback here as we face some resistance, and there's going to be some opportunities to, yeah, that should be fine, to trade this, and that'll probably be a higher low before something larger, only because the daily charts are showing their crossover is about to happen as well. Oh god, we're just in a weird freaking moment where you're looking at small little trades. Okay, but we're fine. So still, as of now, we are in a bullish system. The 1 hour chart is in a bearish system, which means we can't even trade if we wanted to. Yeah, see, this is why it always sucks to try to do strategies, because normally you have to wait for everything to align. But it's a little bit different. And hey, Will, I changed my stochastic what settings? So my settings are 21, 5, and 5 for the stochastic. So it's going to be, excuse me, not 21, 20. 20 for the K, 5 for the K smoothing, and 5 for the D smoothing line. And what that does, it just smooths out the lines a lot more for me. If you get a basic stochastic on there, oh god, it just it sucks. So we're not even going to really be able to do too much trading here, but you can see the choppiness from this line versus this line. Let me actually just make this thicker for you so you can see what I'm talking about there. I don't like having all of these signals here. Like there's a crossover there, crossover there, crossover there, there. That doesn't tell me anything. I like I'd rather have less crossovers, but when we do have a crossover, it matters a lot more. That's the way I prefer to trade. So let me push this over here very fast. So typically what we'd be looking for, just so you can understand, is on the 4 hour chart, we're looking at only day trading if we're starting at the 4 hour. If you want to do swing trading, you need the monthly chart, the weekly chart, and the daily chart to all be aligned. But for now, we're skipping all of that because we would just want to do some quick in and out day trades. And this is higher risk than the swing trading just because everything is aligned with those types of swing trades. But you can see where the crossover right here at 4 p.m. and a crossover right there at 8 p.m., 4 p.m., 4 p.m. Yeah, let's just say 8 p.m., which is right here. There we go. When you see that bullishness, and actually let me describe the signal you're looking for. You're looking for both of these to cross over into bullishness, but one of them, not one, preferably both, but one of them has to be having that crossover below the 50 line. That way you're seeing a shift of momentum, so you're not trying to buy at the very bottom, but you're buying once the bottom is established, and you know the bottom is established, and now you know you're looking for a reversal. You can kind of ride that wave. And typically, if you see that happen, you can do something of a minor swing trade. And by that, I mean 24 to 30 hours. You're not holding for like a week plus. That's what you need the daily charts on your side for. So in this circumstance, you can buy right there, or I mean, is it 4? Yeah, it's 4 when they cross over. I should adjust it here, but it doesn't matter. You can buy here or here depending on how sensitive you want to be, and you can see the first level of resistance is right there. You could sell right there, take your money. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin, of course, let's say you bought right here, because that's what I was looking at first. That's a 1.14% return. If you have a 10x leverage, that's 10x. But you had to hold for about 8 hours to get that 10%. I'm okay with that. A lot of people aren't, but you know, and then you could always scale out a little bit more. The issue is the Fibonacci levels are not that great. Typically with this, I use Fibonacci levels to find the exit points, right? So to find an exit point from a trade like that, like let's go right here. No, there's no good Fibonacci level points here. Let me see. We'd have to go all the way over here. Maybe there is one. I'm just being lazy. Oh, I can make my custom. Dude, if only I knew how to do that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's actually pretty darn perfect right there. Damn, see? Sometimes it just takes a little bit of a brain thing right here. So that isn't the stochastic RSI, that's just the stochastic. Yes, that's just the stochastic. So you can go over here and you type in STOCH, right there, stochastic. Now I use the stochastic RSI as well, but I prefer the stochastic. Stochastic RSI is fine, but you see right here, it is just going to be stochastic, STOCH. So yeah, I just use the stochastic. So you could have bought right there or right there, and you could have sold right there if you believed in the larger trend. This is where it becomes a little bit more difficult though, because if you're buying right here and you sell right there, that's 2 days. Do you really want to be holding 2 days in kind of this weird bearish market? You can. It's not bad. It just covers more risk, right? But for now, let's skip all the daily, the weekly, and so that the 4-hour charts, all you're looking for is bullish crossovers to come along. And during that time, you're more bullish if the daily is aligned with you or the weekly is aligned with you. That's the issue I'm having right now. The weekly charts over the last few weeks have been so choppy that it hasn't been really worth it to do a lot of like very aggressive day trading. And by aggressive day trading, I mean you're going full lock. You're like in a perfect market, I'll put up $5,000 with like 40x leverage, right? 50x leverage. In a market like this right now, I'm putting up like $500 with 20x leverage. And I'm kind of playing around every now and again, seeing what I can find. And when I do those larger positions right now, they're on shorts. They're not on longs. They're on shorts, right? And remember how I just told you guys we're having that, looking at a crossover right here that's going to make things bearish. On the monthly chart, we're seeing some bearishness already form. Well, yeah, we're running into a massive level of resistance, a really solid Fibonacci level here. And that's the thing. But I'm in the process of making a video. Like literally, I already made the script and everything. I put my teleprompter back up here. You guys can't see it because it's not plugged in. I've been using the charger for it to charge my phone. Well, let me go over here very fast. There's my calorie breakdown for food. Yeah, PowerPoint script presentation. Yeah, so that PowerPoint I made from you guys for Gamma AI. Oh, I was still gonna make that RSI video for you guys too, but I think I'm gonna put the RSI video on a back burner because that was hurting my head to make. And I'm gonna try to do this one instead. So this one that I made for you guys, this one has 20 slides to it, right? And I talk about this in the video. Don't worry. I tried to show it to you guys yesterday, but my internet isn't stable right now for whatever reason, so it just cut off halfway through the stream. So I was like, but I go over all the logic and stuff like that. The only thing is because I plan on doing this part first and then kind of setting everything up on the charts, you guys won't have a full understanding because it's like PowerPoint charts, then PowerPoint charts, going back and forth to kind of condense all that, make sure you get all the information, right? See, full trade walkthrough, top-down analysis, entry signal execution, strategy summary, biases from higher, time frames, stuff like that. But what I did is I went over to ChatGPT and oh, did I could have swore I had ChatGPT all lined up, ready to go. Oh, there it is. So for each slide, instead of me reading the slide verbatim, which I think is very hard for me to do and just very boring because I lose my train of thought, and with my ADHD, I just go tangent, I have this. So there's a script I have. I'll read it one at a time so I can just keep my head on, because even thinking about it right now is giving me a headache, which shows how bad my ADD is. But you can see I go through all of it, and then I'll freelance when I get to actually setting up the charts, getting everything ready, explain the strategy bit by bit, and then pulling the slides side by side to go over it. But it's going to be an extremely long video. But if everybody understands my strategy, I think it's just much better. But this is the strategy that includes the 15-minute chart all the way up to the monthly charts of understanding where the momentum is going, how momentum is shifting, where the oscillators are telling you to buy, why you do certain things this way, why you wait below or above the 50 line for certain situations when you want to short and long. But it also teaches you how to long and how to short, so you're not just looking for longs. You also know how to make a profit during shorts, right? Now, back over here, yeah, there you go. But like if you go over historically, this is not 100% accurate, but it's, I want to say it's pushing the high 80s. That's how nice this is. With certain assets, you have to like use this on, you have to back test it with an asset, see if it works, right? But there's a crossover right here and a crossover right here at 12 a.m. right? 12 a.m. is right here. You get a boom. Now with this one, it's a little bit more difficult because we're not looking at this Fibonacci level. But this is 12. So theoretically, you could buy right here towards the end because you have the crossover that's giving you the signal because both are below the 50 line here. And you can try to sell at a level of resistance. For me, I'm probably selling at this level right here. I'm not even waiting for the 200. I'm waiting like somewhere around here. There's an order block. Right. So there. But, excuse me. That's 1.5%. You're going to need some leverage, or you just need to have a lot of capital in order to make that trade. But that one gave you some money. And again, that trade is only around 4 hours long. That's what I'm saying. You're not holding this for days typically. I mean, you can, but what it's doing is it's unlocking different opportunities. The issue with this one, though, is if I pull this back and, oh, I guess I deleted that solid line, didn't I? And I go back over here, right? The daily chart during that time was bearish. So you already know you're not going to be in that chart. You're not going to be in that trade for a while, right? You want the daily chart to also be bullish. When the 4 hour is bullish, you want the weekly chart to be bullish as well. Because when everything's aligning, like for this, I might as well just show you guys the whole strategy right now because it's so we're so choppy right now with the 4 hour about to turn negative, the 1 hour turning negative, which means the 15-minute signals aren't going to be as great, right? Actually, we had a crossover strategy right here that actually worked out pretty well. That one crossed over above. That one crossed over a while ago. Yeah, as much as that went up, I wouldn't have taken that trade. It just doesn't follow my system. Crossover right here. The crossover happened below. It's actually working a little bit right. Oh, this one's a little bit tricky. So I did have a crossover. All right, so this one happened at 9:45. This one happened at 9:45. 9:45 is right here. Your stop loss is right here. Would it have hit the level of greed that we're looking for, the level of resistance? It eventually did. But did it hit your stop loss? No, it didn't. Ah. Okay, so this 15-minute one isn't actually half bad. Crossover right here, plus a crossover right there. So it happened right there. Then your stop loss went down a little bit to level of support. You had a crossover right here and a crossover right there, and you can see that crossover at 245. I don't think it hit your stop loss, but that wasn't a good trade. This 15-minute one on Bitcoin hasn't been that bad. This may work a little bit better because it's choppy. This may actually, yeah, crossover before. Oh. I usually don't backtest the 15 without everything else. It's just not the way I like to trade. I want to be confident, like really confident in my trades, because I have crazy anxiety. This is designed for minimal anxiety, and like to trade, like make a trade and just freaking go live your life. I don't want to be behind the computer screen all day, but because I am sometimes, I have multiple screens, right? 2 can be for charts, 1 can be for Cyberpunk. Crossover right here at 8 a.m. So that one didn't really give you much profit. It ran up to level of resistance, but didn't give you much profit. So you have to be able to get in and get out, which is why typically, like I said, I want to make sure everything is going my way. But the 1 hour is not looking that great right now either. You know, we're just in a choppy zone. Yeah, but that's what I like to do generally. So what I can do here. Oh, what was intrigued is this. So when you back up a little bit and you see like, oh yeah, the monthly charts turned bullish back over here in February. Right there, okay? At that point on, going long swing trading was activated for me. Because of my system, I'm allowed to do it, right? Now I could do long-term holds and stuff like that, but like swing trading with leverage and capital on the line, you know, it's like levered up. It's unlocked. Okay. Now, during this time, the first crossover that we had that made everything really easy to see was right here. That was like what's it? October the 2nd. 245 days later. Easy money rolled in. Okay. Now we have this signal right here. So this was a crossover happened September 23rd. Right here. So we got what, one right there, and you could see we went bearish again for a minute, and then we had another crossover that happened right here, October 9th. All right, so you could start doing the trades right there, and you're confident again right there. So there may be a little bit of a hiccup of like, oh no, what's happening? But for this, let's just make this line a little bit more blue. Nope, that's not looking good at all. Right, there we go. Take a quick break from a second. Loki's last piece of chicken. I mean, he has more upstairs, but his last piece for the day. Yeah, come on. Hey, be good. Be a good boy. Thank you, man. He knows he's not supposed to snatch, but he does it anyway. All right, there we go. All right, so let me go back over here. Okay, so as of here, because we have the monthly chart good and the weekly chart good, now, I mean, this is where you put all of your money to work. I mean, this is where like you are like, oh my gosh, I'm making money that's going to last me for years down the road, right? As long as you're not a crazy spender or something like that. I am not. I have a 2012 Ford Fusion. I travel a little bit. That's my vice, and I smoke cigars, which is yeah. My cigar habit is more than people's mortgages. That I should say that. Cigars are kind of what I do. Okay, but at that time, now you go to the daily chart. Right, let's go all the way back over here. So now, crossover right here, crossover right here. You have the crossover happening October 16th, the second one where you buy. Okay. All right, you buy right here. Because you know all the momentum is with you, you don't have to wait for that next level of resistance that's like right here or right here. This is where you aim higher, right? Because you understand the market situation. This is where you can have your first scale out level right up here, which means instead of looking at 1% like we've been looking at with the day trading and stuff like that, your first return is 9%. Now, if you have, like I said, a 40, 50x leverage position on that one, you're trading $5,000. You could sell all of that right there, be very happy, and walk away from the trade. But because you know the weekly charts with you, the daily charts with you, everything's good, during that time, you can do you can scale out and keep on holding, and you can start looking at the Fibonacci levels, which in this case, if I were to pull this up here, different ways of looking at Fibonacci levels, I know. But for us, just to make this easier, won't be exact because I'm just guessing. Right? First level, hit there. You can scale a little bit more at that 32,000, and you can aim for the next one. And again, that's because the monthly charts are allowing you. Every time we start off a cycle, everything aligns. And those are your gravy trains there. The longer you go into the market, the harder it is to make money. And so, for instance, if we go back over here to the daily chart, where the day trade is activated, and at the same time, again, a weekly chart was activated right here. So you might only do this as a swing trade from here to here, here to here, or here to there, but your swing trade may go from here to there, right? Because the weekly charts told you to buy right here. Oh no, we waited for that double crossover. That's what I'm looking at right here. Yeah. So they really told you to trade buy right here on the 25th, the 25th. And then you have your stop loss down here at 25,000. So I would have never hit if you bought over here on the 25th. Was it 25th? Oh, right here. Yeah, you might have lost some money initially, but your stop loss never would have got hit. And then you ride the wave. So if you did the weekly chart and you're hoping for that next big move, and again, the weekly chart, be perfectly honest, you could sell right here, make you 13% to be very happy. But up here is we make you 79%. And the point of this strategy is when everything aligns, because right now everything's obviously not aligned, with choppy as hell, which makes my strategy like not useless, but you're really stuck on doing like minor trades right now. Point being, if you do that, you know everything's bullish on the daily chart right there. Let's say let's say during this time, there's two things you can really do to like maximize your gains. Okay, You got the day trading opportunity right here. For now, I'm just going to get rid of these lines. Get rid of them because they don't matter for us because those are weekly chart lines. Okay. Now, you're good. Daily chart's good. Well, why don't you go to the 4-hour chart now? At this point, you could be having a trade based on the weekly chart. You can be having a trade based on the daily chart. And now you can be looking at smaller term trades that last a few days at a time off the weekly chart. So look for the crossovers now, where one crossover is happening below the 50. So you see one crossover is happening below the 50 right here. The other one, we had a crossover right there. So you buy right here at 9 a.m. And you can see there might be some resistance up here. So, did I say 9 a.m.? Yeah, 9 a.m. 9 a.m. is right there before that big pop-up. You can ride that wave up, and you can hit this first level of resistance. So 9 a.m., let's go towards the top of that range. That's 3%, but it's only like 12 hours. 3%, you're maybe trading with 10x leverage, 20x leverage, whatever leverage, 5x leverage if you feel comfortable with 5x leverage. And you can see right there you made your money. And then, of course, if you're looking for that next level of resistance, you can. But then again, just the daily charts are bullish right now. So you got to wait. You got to wait for everything to reset here. You got to wait for at least one of these suckers to come back below the 50 line here. Next bullish crossover happened right here. There was a crossover that happened right here. I know it's going to be a little bit hard to see, but you can see the little crossover right there. So this would have been a false positive. But because the overall trend is still extremely bullish, you're fine. Because the momentum is going to carry you. Now, you have a stop loss right there. You open your trade up right 1 a.m. Of course, at a local high. But look at it. Doesn't hit your stop loss. It keeps on rolling up, right? You normally buy at the end of the candle, so right there, not the peak. And you start riding, and of course, you have some resistance up here. Hits that resistance, and you're good. Or you can say, hey, after trading for a while, I notice there's a low and I see we keep on going down. Maybe I want to see if there's a Fibonacci level I can look at here, something like that. And maybe you end up selling like right there or right there or right there or right there. Well, that was actually really good Fibonacci levels right there. So, it unlocks a bunch of doors and it just makes trading a lot easier. A lot easier. Is Powell speaking it? I think he is probably speaking by now. I don't expect him to be saying too much here. But let me go check it out here. Let me see. Give me a second. Put my headphones on. It's going to be a little bit janky, but I think we should be able to make it work. I can just start from the beginning, though. It'll make life a lot easier.
I will have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments. Available indicators suggest that economic activity has been expanding at a solid pace. Consumer spending has been resilient, and business fixed investment has continued to expand. In contrast, activity in the housing sector has remained weak. The temporary shutdown of the federal government likely weighed on economic activity last quarter, but these effects should be reversed as the reopening boosts growth this quarter. In the labor market, indicators suggest that conditions may be stabilizing after a period of gradual softening. The unemployment rate was 4.4% in December and has changed little in recent months. Job gains have remained low. Total non-farm payrolls declined at an average pace of 22,000 per month over the last 3 months. Excluding government employment, private payrolls rose at an average pace of 29,000 per month. A good part of the slowing in the pace of job growth over the past year reflects a decline in the growth of the labor force due to lower immigration and labor force participation, though labor demand has clearly softened as well. Other indicators, including openings, layoffs, hiring, and nominal wage growth, show little change in recent months. Inflation has eased significantly from its highs in mid-2022, but remains somewhat elevated relative to our 2% longer run goal. Estimates based on the Consumer Price Index indicate that total PCE prices rose 2.9% over the 12 months ending in December, and that excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 3.0%. These elevated readings largely reflect inflation in the goods sector, which has been boosted by the effects of tariffs. In contrast, disinflation appears to be continuing in the services sector. Near-term measures of inflation expectations have declined from last year's peaks, as reflected in both market and survey-based measures. Most measures of longer-term expectations remain consistent with our 2% inflation goal. Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. At today's meeting, the committee decided to maintain the target range. We are well positioned to determine the extent and timing of additional adjustments to our policy rate based on the incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. Monetary policy is not on a preset course, and we will make our decisions on a meeting-by-meeting basis. To conclude, the Fed has been assigned two goals for monetary policy: maximum employment and stable prices. We remain committed to supporting maximum employment, bringing inflation sustainably to our 2% goal, and keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Our success in delivering on these goals matters to all Americans. We at the Fed will continue to do our jobs with objectivity, integrity, and a deep commitment to serve the American people. Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
That last bit was just against Donald Trump right there. He didn't have to say it, but he chose to say it. The rest are just going to be Q&A. It's nothing too crazy, but I will mention that if we skip back over to what we were talking about, or skip past what we were talking about a few minutes ago, let me just go here. Bitcoin is dropping a little bit off of what he just started saying a few minutes ago. Now, again, there's no surprise and stuff like that. Typically, when he pauses rates, Bitcoin does go down. Earlier this morning, before the announcement came out, we had a big spike. But again, the announcement came out right here, not anywhere over here. I think what we saw was the market open came. No, that wasn't even the market open. The market open was over here. Yeah, 6 right there when the market started tanking. But yeah, so now we're just kind of in a gut again. We're just waiting for the Fed to juice up the market here. It kind of sucks. Yeah, but long story short, guys, Jesus, I hate when it looks all condensed like that. There we go. Long story short, I'll make a video kind of explaining the strategy and how it works. I mean, it's a very solid strategy. It's very, very good. I just always have trouble explaining things because of my ADHD, which is why I've been using AI. Like, you know, now when I've been doing this stuff, I haven't been typing it out because typing hurts my head. I don't know. I don't want to say like, it's hard to concentrate, right? So what I did is I just talked to the AI and be like, hey, you know how you can do that little thing with ChatGPT where, you can just click this little dictate button and it just records a word for word what you're saying. You're not having a conversation with AI, but just dictates all, you know, it just puts your words into text. All right. I did all of that. It understood my strategy after I kind of told it, and like confirmed some things and changed some stuff up a few times. And then I put it into a PowerPoint, right? And then once I do the PowerPoint and understanding everything, I think it'll do very well. So what I may do is, maybe what I'll do is I'll actually start off the video by just having everybody set up the charts. And then from there, I'll actually explain now what everything means now that everything's set up. And then we'll go through this. And then once they understand what's happening, then it'll be good. It would almost be better if I had like two charts to two windows to show them at the same time, so people could look at them both at the same time. But I know it's gonna be very hard, so I'm just gonna make it very slow, methodical. So for people that want to learn, they can, right? If they want to learn, they can. If not, it's perfectly fine. It's not the end of the world here, because I like doing these videos. And right now, for example, like we just talked about some of these strategies here. This is the one right here. Right, the last 4-hour one, which is this own little thing that made you some money. We just talked about the 15-minute ones. We just had a bearish crossover right there. And again, this is a news-related one. It's a little bit more iffy, if you will. I don't like to trade around news, but you can see you had the bearish signal around 10:30 in the morning. Right, nice little drop right there. So it, you know, there's ways around it. I would say there's definitely ways to use the strategy however you want to, but mine is built on a lot more confidence, right? And hey, Ricky, do I think this crypto bear market ends soon? I think we probably have a few more months to go. Right now, you know, I said this a little bit ago, and every time that we have, every time that Bitcoin looks like it's about to break out or it's going higher, there's a tariff threat. And I don't think it's because Trump is targeting Bitcoin or cryptocurrency or something like that, but like the last few opportunities we've had, they've all been just disasters, right? So the start of this bear market happened because Trump threatened 100% tariffs on China again, and we saw all the leverage just get fucking wiped out of the market. It was terrible, right? Then a couple weeks ago, we were making a move, and then Trump threatened the Europeans with 10% tariffs because they're over Greenland, right? And then the newest one is he threatened Canada, I think, with 10% or 100, I forget the number exactly, with tariffs if they sign a deal with China. And every time that happens, you just see Bitcoin fall like a rock, and it's freaking horrible. But like, if you're a trader and you want to do the swing trades I've been talking about, right? You want to do those moves, it's absolutely horrible. It's absolutely horrible to do that because you just don't trust that the market's going to sustain itself, which is why what we're doing so far, and this is why I'm just gonna have to go live at one random point when the 4-hour chart is just booming, like just giving us a good signal, and we'll be doing that, and I'll make the video for the with the PowerPoint and stuff. What do I gotta do? I got a call at 2 o'clock. After that, I think I'm gonna go see if I can grab lunch with a friend, but that might be too late, so probably not today. I gotta do a meeting with my website guy after 4. So I'll probably end up doing it tomorrow. It's tomorrow Thursday. Tomorrow I'm taking my grandparents to the business Costco because they've never been before. I'll have plenty of time outside of that one event in my day to make this video. It's going to take me a minute to kind of like go through everything. But because I have the script, basically, you guys can't see, but I have this teleprompter here. I got this thing. This thing looks really cool. It's like it's a keyboard and a stream deck all in one. But I got this thing, a prompter. I have the regular one. I don't have the prompter XL. So I have this. Really darn cool. It's like the best teleprompter in the market. It cost me $300, yes. But that's basically what it looks like, but I don't have a fancy camera lens like that. I got the cheap like $50 camera lens because it just has to look at me. That's it. But my camera is better than that camera. But basically, I have a big old light there. I don't need that light. See how it has the text and everything? I can read straight from that while looking at the camera while the PowerPoint is going like this, right? And I can read. Right now it's unplugged because the plugin is, right there. But I should be able to just read everything. That's gonna take the longest time. Reading chart by chart. Like I have this software here. Cam Hub? Yeah, Elgato Camera Hub. Because the prompter is not plugged in, I can't show you what it looks like, I guess. But I could have the text all there. I can have the speed of the text when I read it. I can have it, since I have some fancy graphics card, it'll actually keep up with what I'm talking about, which is pretty nice. And then what I do is I read it and then I end the video right there. Record for 20 seconds, end it, record for 20 seconds, name it like 1, name it 2, name it 3, name it 4, name it 5, whatever. Go through the whole process, make that video. It's rendered out, it's ready to go. All right. And then I have to make a whole fresh video where it's much more jumbled up, where I have to go through this back and forth with live charts once I've shown everybody how to set it up. Because I think as I'm going through this now, it'll be, hey, here's how to set up your charts first. Now let's explain the strategy. Now that we know the strategy, let's go back to the charts we set up, and here's how to implement and backtest, right? It usually works easier, and why so many of my videos do better, I believe, during the height of the cryptocurrency market, because my strategies are easy to, they're working all the time, and they're very, very simple. Whereas right now, the weekly charts are mixed, right? We got 2 bullish ones over here, 1 bearish one right there. It doesn't matter as much right there, but we got 2 bullish ones, that didn't amount to anything as far as long-term swing trading, right? Got bullish 12th of January. Right there, right? Didn't do anything because what? Tariff announcement and the monthly charts have been bearish for a while. Right, everything's been bearish. So everything's more complicated right now. So when they try to test it, it's probably not going to work that great on Bitcoin. But what makes it so great is when it does work on Bitcoin, like we were talking about earlier with this, like with going all the way back over here, remember? When that happens, let's say we had that buy signal for Bitcoin back over here on the 25th of September, 2023, right? Trying to find a coin that was around there at the same time. I don't know. XRP, no. Something that we know and like that actually has a good history. Sure. Yeah, September 25th, right? So around that same time, because Bitcoin's going up, you can buy other tokens. And you can see this one. Did I say the September 25th? Let me just double check. Yeah, September 25th. Okay, cool. Well, guess what? September 25th is right here. Buy at the end of that. Your first level of resistance, you're already at 43%. Your next level of resistance, you're up 75. And what you can do is you can time the selling points for Bitcoin. So you can see Bitcoin ran into its first level of resistance right here, October 23rd. But more real likely, what we were talking about, the Fibonacci levels, right? The Fibonacci levels for this one were... I don't have the Fibonacci's for this one. Let's just say it was around October the 23rd. Let's just say it was around October the 23rd. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. October the 23rd. There you go. All right. So that first move right there, you can see Bitcoin's hitting a level of resistance, which it blew apart, right? But that's 10% right there if you wanted to scale out with your 10x leverage, your 20x leverage, whatever. And if you go up here to your next like body candle 19, your next big one up here 40, and it just goes on and on and on, right? It's a little bit difficult because you're actually buying really close to the bottom right there, which is kind of crazy. But if you know where Bitcoin's going, you know where altcoins are going for the most part. So when I give you these strategies and I'm like, hey, you see how Bitcoin's rolling right now? Like for instance, now it works better when the whole market is going in the same direction with momentum. But you see Bitcoin on the daily chart. The last time we had a crossover below the 50 was what over here December 26th, and it happened over here the 29th of December, okay? So 29th of December, Bitcoin to its next level of resistance ran up around 7%, right? Or Ethereum. God, I'm so bad with the 29th. There we go. 29th. Ethereum on the 29th at the end of the day. First one was 5%. Second one was 8%. And the next one up here was 13%. Did it hit the 13%? No, it only hit 12.74. So again, but it hit more, right? You can see how the you made more money if you did that way. And again, you can go over to something like a Dogecoin. The 29th was right here. Ooh, Dogecoin's different though, because Dogecoin, you would have your stop loss would have got hit, unfortunately. Yeah, your stop loss would have got boom, and then it would have right afterwards, which would have just killed you. Would have just killed you. Even the Trump token over here on the 29th, it would have hit your stop loss before going up. So it just depends on the token. Maybe you give yourself a little bit more leeway. But again, if you're a safe trader, you probably just stick with Bitcoin and Ethereum. But again, we all have our more aggressive tendencies. So if you wanted to do that type of strategy, and instead of trading with $500, trade with $100. Instead of trading with 20x leverage, trade with 5x leverage. You'd be fine. Right? Because most of your money is going to be in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Those solid picks, really easy ones to make money because those guys can make some really good money too, right? Solana during that time, 29th. See how the charts look a lot different, right? That first big level of resistance really around here, 12%. Yeah, around 17%. ended up going up here to 14. But again, what you can do is you can just say, okay, let me see what's happening here, right? So when you buy that wave, you can be like, oh, okay, well, I probably would just want to buy to the one level, which is 7%, or the next level up here, which is 13.1, right? There's different ways of going about it. Even if it's not perfectly flush, it just gives you like clear levels to sell at, so you're not really like, oh my god, I didn't sell, I need to do this, right? Can you give me some tips on entry and exit of what you're looking for? I like to use Fibonacci levels. I am not a guy that cares about selling at the tippy top, because at that point I've made so much money that I'm happy. Let me do this very fast. For instance, let's just go over this trade right here. So this is Bitcoin's daily chart, right? Before we make a trade over here, we would see that we're bullish. Let's just add on some Fibonacci levels just so we know where certain key levels of resistance are. Okay. Now we go over to the 1 hour chart. Oh, the 4 hour chart, excuse me. So hold on, sorry. This is I don't like how the chart is so big right now because I have to show it to you guys on the screen, but I'm used to everything being small, so like everything looks tiny. These little things are taking up small parts of my monitor, and it's not as cluttered. So the bullish signal did come out to 29th of December. Okay, that's one. We can use that one because these happen above the 50 line. Okay. All right. So you see over here the 4 hour chart. I'm just going to show you guys some day trade examples. So that's good right there. So crossover right here at 4 a.m. The crossover here at 12 a.m. Okay, so this is 4 a.m. right there. The stop loss is the trough below. Oh, sorry, it's on magnet. Okay. All right. And let's say you're looking for an opportunity to scale out here at the first Fibonacci level or the next Fibonacci level. Since the daily chart's good and the 4 hour chart's fine, you should be okay to grind for a little bit. But let's say because it's the 4 hour chart, you're being a little bit more hesitant, right? So let's just say you're aiming for this level right here, which means you're looking to buy there and sell there for about 1% profit, right? So let's say you trade $1,000 at 10x leverage, right? That 1% turns into 10%. And what's 10% of 1,000, right? It's just $100. So that's $100 profit if you wait for that. It's not a lot of money, but it just adds on to what you've been doing. Maybe even 95 because of the profits and stuff like that. I was mean the fees and stuff like that. But now let's say you do the next one, because this is what the daily ones. You're not taking this one or that one. You're not doing that type of stuff yet because the daily isn't good. The next one got hit right here at 4 a.m. Another 4 a.m. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, this one you can just sell right here if you feel like it's more comfortable, because you saw the last few times is we've been having some issues, right? But the daily's still bullish. So you go right here. The next one, you make 1.21% profit, 1.12% profit, right? So if I make a $1,000 trade with 10x leverage, now I'm using 30, 40, 50, but I don't want you guys doing that because that'll blow up your account if you're not doing it right. And you have to have the money to like say, oh, I lost that position. So be it, right? 10x leverage, and then make a 1.2% profit on the trade. What is my profit? Just the answer, please. So with $1,000 and 10x leverage, you made $120. I should have known that, but I just wanted to be sure. You made about $120. All right, and that's for holding for 16 hours. No, 12 hours. Jesus, 12 hours, 12 hours, 12 hours, 12 hours. Right, 12 hours, $120. And again, If you're trading with more and higher leverage, of course it can work out. But again, within these 2 days, you made a couple $100. You're happy, you're relaxed. Now, maybe instead of trading with $1,000, maybe you trade with $1,200. Take a little bit out. You put $200 into your overall pot. So I go back over here and say, okay, what about if I started with $1,200, right? So if you start with $1,200, then your next profit, if they're on the same type of trade, that's $144 instead of $120, right? And it kind of compounds. It makes it easier and easier. Then you go back again. You got to wait for the next crossover here. Now again, is the daily chart still bullish at this point in time? Let's just draw a line right here. We have a crossover right here. Crossover right here. Daily chart. Let's get rid of this right here. No, it was not. So you're not even taking that trade right there. You're not even taking that trade. So again, you saw how it didn't do anything on that 4-hour chart when you were there. See, you're not even taking that trade because the you're not even taking that trade because the daily chart wasn't with you, right? And it stops you from getting all mucked up in this stuff. Now, it actually did work out, right? But you'll see that it's just, for me, it's just better not to take those trades because a lot of times it doesn't work out. You don't want to force it, right? But yeah, I'll make a more dedicated video about the strategy and stuff like that. I'm going to be probably doing some live trading on OKX here pretty soon because they're one of my new sponsors. But they don't do leverage, so we're going to be doing simple, like how to build up an account a really safe way, like an extremely safe way. Because leverage speeds things up, but it also like speeds up your demise if you don't know what you're doing. So there's also that. And have I been gaming? Yeah, I've only been playing Cyberpunk as of late. But not really too much else here. I haven't had the time to game. I normally spend about 5 hours outside the house a day, and that's usually smoking cigars and hanging out with buddies and whatnot, because I don't want to leave Loki here for too long. But I put him on the TV. He has his toys and stuff like that. But he's just waiting for me to come home. That's the whole point, right? But yeah, basically Cyberpunk. I'm up to almost 300 hours. I was going to get back into this game, War of Rights, but I just haven't had the time to do that one as well. Plus, everybody there is like racist as a motherfucker. Empire Total War I've had for a long time. I've had this since like I was a kid. I'm almost up to 1,000 hours with that one. I'm kind of over Civilization. The games, I prefer Civilization 4. That's what I got right here, right? Civilization 6, I've been trying to play it, but I fall asleep playing it too much, so it builds up my playtime. Mountain Blade, it was kind of fun, but meh. Yeah, just okay. But all right, everybody, I'm going to end this stream right here. I'll probably go live a little bit later on, too. I'm not entirely sure since I'm already live today, right now. But my goal for today and probably tomorrow is to try to do my script reading and then do the setup and stuff like that. Maybe I'll actually just start with the setup. Like, I'll start the recording of the setup, then do the me reading the scripts with the PowerPoints on there, and then what I'll do is go to the recording of me showing how the strategy works step by step by step, and pulling up the slides to kind of reaffirm that. I think that might be good. Yeah, we'll have to see. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm working on getting my viewers and stuff back up. I've been not shadow banned, but I don't know what the heck happened. So I think crypto just happened, right? Crypto going down. But I'll see you guys a little bit later. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys all have a fantastic